Diablo was a pathetic antisocial gamer who one day wakes up as his character, an overpowered demon lord. However, when he accidentally enslaves two freaky demi-human girls who now do anything he wants, he decides to use his new joystick to clap multiple shotties at a time. But before all this, he was playing Cross Reverie in his mom's basement. But when the clock strikes 12, he suddenly receives kisses from two chicks. That's when it clicks to him that he's in the body of Diablo, the undefeated demon lord who is his character in the game. While the girls argue who should get to own him, he looks around, recognizing the place as a location in the game. Back in his old life, he was a sweaty mouth breather, so nobody ever talked to him, which is why in the present he stutters like a moron while trying to get the girls' attention. Mustering up all his courage and his best deep voice, he orders the girls to cease fighting and shake hands. The girls instantly refuse when suddenly a force compels them to shake hands. Seconds later, two slave collars appear around their necks, horrifying them. On the way to the city, the girls explained they had summoned him to be their slave. But something went wrong, and now they're the ones bound to him. Hearing this, he connects the dots, realizing that his magic reflecting ring, which he got in the game, must have flipped their summoning magic back on them. On the way to an inn, the girls introduce themselves as Shara and Rem, revealing they are adventurers who need his power. In response, he decides to introduce himself as Diablo, the mighty demon lord. Finally, they arrive at a crappy motel where, due to lack of money, they decide to occupy one room with a king-size bed, which gives Diablo hopes to have a naughty group project with Shara and Rem. Suddenly, a woman by the name of Celestine arrives in their room, and Shara excitedly greets her since she's the head of the Mage Association, while Diablo recognizes her from the game as the mage who protects the town with her magical barrier. Celestine quickly takes note of the slave collars around the girl's neck and invites them all to dinner to know more about that. Once the girls reveal the full story, she promises to help them as best she can, which prompts Diablo to coldly ask why she's annoying them with her disgusting face. This offends her simpy bodyguard, who tells him to put respect on Celestine's name, but Diablo snarls at him and calls him a peasant. Before things can escalate, Celestine urges Rem to consider keeping bodyguards, but when she declines her, Celestine reminds her she's very important for their country. But even then, Rem assures her that she can fend for herself. Sighing, the High Mage excuses herself with her bodyguard, who scowls at Diablo before leaving. With the side characters gone, Diablo turns to Rem and says that she must be very important, but she lies and states that she's just an ordinary cat girl. However, Diablo's gamer instincts tingle as he concludes that whatever secret Rem is harboring is important for the plot, so he swings her on his shoulder and tells Shara he's going to torture Rem for information. Being a wuss, Shara keeps quiet, letting Diablo take Rem away. They arrive inside the room, where he throws her on the bed and asks her to spill the beans or he'll flick her bean. Enraged, Rem asks if he's really going to defile her, which prompts Diablo to change his course of action. Instead, he starts rubbing her ears, causing her to make happy dolphin sounds. Once she releases funny liquid, Rem asks Diablo if he'll accept her after knowing her big secret, which has always scared away people. He promises that he won't run away, allowing Rem to reveal that the soul of the demon lord, Krebskolm, is sealed within her. Hearing the name, Diablo recalls Krebskolm to be the ultimate boss in Cross Reverie. Meanwhile, Rem states her purpose is to defeat Krebskolm, which is why Celestine wants to assign her guards so she doesn't die prematurely and unleash Krebskolm out in the world. Upon learning this, Diablo assures Rem he's going to help her cause, which moves her to tears. Not wanting to see Rem cry like a wimpy kid, Diablo heads out, where he's confronted by Celestine's simp guard and his homies. However, knowing he's not worth it, Diablo turns to leave when the simp summons a level 30 salamander. Diablo scoffs at that, stating he's on level 150 and kabooms the salamander. Once he's done, Diablo becomes sure of one thing. The powers Diablo had in the game is now his to wield. That morning, he wonders if he's in a replica of the world shown in Cross Reverie, or whether he has been transported inside the game itself. Deciding it's time to seek answers, Diablo gets up when his hands grab something soft. Turning his head, he gasps, seeing his left hand clasped around Shara's jiggly jugs. His panic further cranks up when he realizes his right hand is resting on Rem's poorly developed chest.
Yeah, boy.
At that moment, Diablo realizes he loves melons when suddenly Shara wakes up and yells at him. She angrily tells him that he can only do stuff like this when he accepts her as her master. Soon enough, Rem wakes up and turns into a tomato upon finding his hand on her flatbed. Diablo, now fully crapping, reminds himself to just roleplay as the cocky demon Lord Diablo, so he calmly tells Rem that he's sure the baddie glow-up will hit her sooner or later. That day, Rem decides she is going to stay mad at Diablo, who pays no mind to her antics and asks why he hasn't spotted a single human being. Shara answers, revealing this block is specifically dedicated to demi-humans, which makes Diablo realize that humans must be beefing with other creatures as usual. Sighing, he then asks the girls if their strength is measured in levels. Shara affirms but shyly states that she is a noob, while Rem proudly declares that she stands on level 40. Finally arriving at the Adventurers Guild, Diablo is appalled to see a rowdy crowd of adventurers tussling with each other. Despite being a nervous wreck, he remains composed and follows the girls to the second floor where the busty receptionist from H-Anime tells them to fill the forms, but Diablo, being an illiterate moron, realizes he can't read the language. He orders Shara to fill it out for him, which she excitedly does, and after she is done, the receptionist guides them to touch the magic mirror to learn their levels. Shara goes first and finds out she's level 30, which bums her out as she was hoping to outdo Rem. But when it's Diablo's turn, something goes terribly wrong with the mirror that scares everyone in the room. The commotion catches Sylvie, the guild master's attention, who tells Diablo and his cuddle crew to come with her. In privacy, she tells Diablo that he's too strong for their measly guild and questions him if he would be okay taking orders from someone weaker than him. Diablo shrugs, stating that he doesn't care so long as he is paid, which makes Sylvie laugh. After welcoming him on board, she dispatches them on a mission to bring back the eyes of the Madara snake lurking within the man-eating woods. Rem reveals to them the quest is requested by someone from the Mage Association that makes Diablo wonder if Celestine or her squad of gooners are behind it, which somehow triggers a memory of the night he was on top of Rem. Shrugging away the impure thoughts, he asks if they can take a portal to the man-eating woods, but the girls reply that they have never heard about portals before in their lives. Diablo tries his best to explain how it works, which causes Shara to chuckle. She states that if a portal existed, it would be way too convenient, and Rem agrees, asking Diablo if he watched a crappy fantasy movie from Pedawood. Diablo decides it's best to shut up, and so after 5 hours of walking, they arrive inside the man-eating woods, which is creepy enough to give him the heebie-jeebies. Suddenly, Shara picks up on the presence of 10 people, which alerts Diablo, who tells the girls that he can sense this is a trap and asks them to be on their toes. Without further warnings, he fires elemental magic towards the trees, forcing the enemy out in the open. Shara instantly recognizes the elf as Celsior, who angrily confronts Diablo, asking him how he could dare to enslave the Princess of Greenwood, which turns out to be none other than Shara. Irritated, Diablo states he hasn't enslaved Shara, or anyone for the matter, but Celsior refuses to believe that and announces his determination to free the princess and bring her back to their nation. This enrages Shara, who bluntly tells the elf she won't come with him, especially after knowing her brother wants to give her baby-making backshots. Confused, Celsior asks why she'd rather live like slaves when she can just spread her legs and fulfill her biological destiny. However, Shara angrily clarifies that she is nobody's slave, which prompts Celsior to raise his arrow once again. He then states that he doesn't care for her reasons since he is just ordered to bring her home. Meanwhile, feeling proud, Rem commends Shara for being a true feminist and offers her support, while Diablo darkly tells Celsior he made a grave mistake by making him his enemy. The elves, feeling humiliated by his cockiness, fire a bunch of arrows which don't faze Diablo at all. Instead, he asks them why they are wasting his time when they aren't serious about defeating him. In retaliation, Celsior takes out the real deal, which Diablo recognizes as Tempest arrows that have the potential to pierce anyone and anything. But of course, Diablo is not just anyone, and he proves that by easily neutralizing the attack like it's nothing. Now fearful, they ask Diablo just who he is, prompting him to introduce himself as Diablo, the demon lord from another world. Without further warnings, he unleashes a spell called Freesia, which freezes the whole area. Celsior and his troops now fall to their knees in terror when suddenly the Simp Guard reveals himself. He trashes the elves for failing to murder Diablo, making it clear that this was all his doing. Ticked off, Diablo asks him if he convinced the elves that he's a slave trader, which causes the guard to yell that the elves reached that conclusion on their own, as they are stupid demi-humans. In response, Diablo gives him a final warning, stating that if he ever sees him again, he will tear him apart, limb from limb, which terrifies him enough to run away. Taking this moment, Shara steps forward and tells Celsior to not bother her ever again, as she doesn't want to pipe her bro when she has a Chad like Diablo. Once they make it home, Shara finds herself all alone with Diablo and decides to rizz him up by telling him how amazing his magic is. Diablo, who is lost in his thoughts, concludes that this world is the real deal, and unlike the game, if he dies, he will not be respawned. Which also makes him realize the reason why everyone around him is on a lower level is because nobody wants to risk their lives trying to attain God-like powers. Suddenly, he tells Shara that in order to defeat Krebskulm, he'll have to risk his life, which makes her think that he is choosing Rem over her. With tears in her eyes, Shara embraces him, stating that she needs him just as much as Rem. To show him her devotion, Shara sits directly on his bird Khalifa, allowing him to play with her melons until he gives in and states he's not choosing Rem over her. The next morning, the gang is summoned by Sylvie, who apologizes for not letting them rest after their mission and reveals that someone has specifically requested Diablo for a quest. But the girls, now wary, ask Sylvie if this will be another trap, causing her to reveal that the commission was requested by Celestine, who has offered to pay big bucks for it. Diablo, however, grumbles and asks Sylvie if the mage has included reparations for the damage caused by her ugly guard. When the guild master assures him he'll be taken care of, Rem interrupts, stating that she isn't going on this mission as she doesn't want to owe Celestine anything, and accepting an unnecessarily high-paying job will mean she is under her debt or something. Hearing this, Diablo realizes Rem is not a gold digger, while Cher reminds them all they're broke losers who don't even have money to afford toilet paper. Meanwhile, Sylvie pitches in, telling them they don't have to group together for this particular mission as it's supposed to be an easy job. So without further delays, Diablo tells Rem to stay alone in the city, which bummed her out a little. Exiting Sylvie's office, they read the job description, which is to take refreshments to the Bridge of Yulug, which makes Diablo realize that it's truly an easy job. So he states that Celestine is definitely trying to make up for the insolence of her guard. However, Rem throws a fuss, insisting that she will not be bought, but Shara, on the other hand, tells Diablo that she thinks Celestine is a good person. Just when they're about to leave for the mission, a golden-haired boy addresses Diablo, telling him he looks as evil as the rumors have claimed him to be. Now curious, Diablo wonders what rumors, prompting the boy to reveal that the city knows him as a demon who has enslaved 2 innocent women. Internally, he cringes at the rumor, knowing the horns he's wearing are just for show, but on the outside, he uses his best corpse husband voice to ask the girls who is the buffoon in front of him. They quickly answer, revealing he is Emil, who is said to be the strongest warrior in the Adventurers Guild. Hearing his introduction, Emil proudly boasts his level 50 and then challenges Diablo to a duel. This excites him since he had been waiting for a game-like confrontation ever since he arrives, though he cockily tells Emil he is going to crush him like a fly. Ignoring the warning, the warrior states that he loves women, so as a true feminist, he cannot allow an ugly demon to enslave Rem and Shara. The girls try to tell him he has got it all wrong, but Emil shushes them and announces he'll free them because he's a defender of women. Watching him, Diablo quickly realizes Emil is nothing but a performative nice guy, but he's still hoping to get a good fight out of him. So when the Golden Warrior takes his fighting position, Diablo buzzes with excitement. Emil quickly rushes in to cut him in half, but Diablo dodges the attack with his staff. For his next move, Emil tries to gather up mana, but Diablo swats him away like a mosquito, which makes him quite furious. He yells at Diablo that he's not going to give up since he grew up watching Naruto, and charges at him until the girls yell at the 2 idiots to stop. Shara then reveals to Emil that he's got the whole story wrong, as Rem explains that Diablo hasn't enslaved them and is, in fact, helping them out. Hearing this, Emil bursts into laughter and tells Diablo that he's lucky the girls told him he's not a threat. In return, Diablo just sighs, knowing Emil is mentally a chimp who never evolved. Later on, Shara and he finally head out to complete their quest, where the elf expresses that she is bored. Suddenly, she jiggles her milkers and asks Diablo if he wants to go skinny dipping. The dweeb inside him freaks out, so he yells at her for making such suggestions during work. But in response, Shara presses her udders against his chest and expresses that she wants to become as powerful as him one day. After playing around, they arrive at Yulug, where the guards accuse him of being a fallen because of his horns. Before he can explain, a guard named Boris recognizes him as the infamous demon that has gotten the whole city of Faltra talking. Feeling curious, Diablo interrogates the guards about why they're so frantic, and they reveal they have received information about hundreds of Fallen heading towards Yulug. The news leaves him with worry, as he knows from Cross Reverie that Fallens are boss monsters capable of causing widespread destruction. When Shara expresses her concern for Yulug, Diablo thinks that if the monsters arrive, the whole of Yulug will be ruined, since the guards are incapable of defeating such a powerful horde. However, he assures Shara that even if the Bridge of Yulug is destroyed, the Fallens won't be able to enter Faltra, given that they have Celestine's barrier protecting the city. But Shara, unable to relax, tells Diablo there has been an increase in monster activity since they are hoping to revive the demon lord Krebskull. Now, as worried as his companion, Diablo wonders if the true target is Rem. Just when he's about to head home to her, he receives a letter of appreciation from Boris, thanking them for delivering the refreshments. Stunned by this, Diablo scolds him for worrying about such trivial matters when they're about to face a horde of monsters. With a smile plastered on his stupid face, Boris claims that if today happens to be his last day, he wants to die with honor. Diablo then asks the young guard why he's not running away, and he reveals that his job is to fight until the workers and travelers on the bridge safely make it to Faltra. Hearing this, Shara gives Diablo her best doe eyes, and in an instant, he folds and makes up his mind to save the bridge for the sake of Shara's show-stopping honkers. A few hours later, Boris informs him that all the civilians have safely made it to Faltra. Suddenly, Diablo spots a light-skinned baddie on an ostrich, and behind her is a group of Fallen headed towards them. He orders everyone to step back so he can freely use his magic, but before leaving, Shara tells him to be careful. Diablo quietly walks towards the battlefield, realizing this is the first time someone has ever shown care for him, which gives him the pump needed to face the monsters. Meanwhile, back in Faltra, Rem sits down with Celestine, who informs her about dismissing her guard, which caused them unnecessary trouble. With that, she tries to press her for more information on Diablo, and Rem reveals he is a demon lord from another world. But Celestine finds it hard to believe and tells her to be wary of him because he could be a fallen who's drawn to the demon lord's soul inside her. Rem stands up in anger and states that Diablo had plenty of chances to harm her. Instead, he always protected her and promised to crush Crepscombe. Suddenly, the door swings open and the same guard enters looking crazier than ever. He tells Celestine how everyone has gone mad, telling him he has been discharged, so he had to hurt them. Concerned, Celestine asks the guard who he has hurt, but he gets worked up and tells her to worry about him for once. As Celestine tries to calm him down, he takes out a dagger and pierces himself with it, summoning a shadow snake that wraps itself around his body. Rem recognizes the evil oozing out of the snake and warns everyone to stay back while the snake completely takes over the guard, turning him into a fallen named Gregor. Elsewhere, Diablo takes out as many fallen as he can with low-level skills until he's challenged by the Lancer of the Fallen, Edelgard herself. Back at the inn, Gregor identifies Celestine and tells her game is over, and taunts her by telling her it was easy to penetrate through her barrier thanks to her simp guard. However, before the Fallen can cause damage, Celestine's subordinates urge her to escape, so Rem takes her by the hand and flees the scene. Unfortunately, they aren't able to run far away as they hit a dead end. Gregor arrives shortly after, ready to put an end to the game of tag. Rem, being a summoner, acts quickly by calling upon a creature called Ashulao, but Gregor eliminates him in just a single blow. Just when all hope seems lost, Emil arrives out of nowhere and challenges Gregor. Fortunately, he receives help from the adventurers who are here to offer protection to Celestine. As Emily attacks the Fallen, he uses his dark magic to send the warrior flying. Cackling maliciously, Gregor proudly reveals he is the greatest sorcerer in the man-eating woods. With that, he unleashes an attack called Dark Bullet, which injures Emil. The girls urge him to run while he can, but the Golden Warrior gets up again, stating he'll never turn his back on his foes. Back at the Ulug Bridge, Diablo fights with Edelgard, who he analyzes is on level 80. Since he is stronger than her, he tells her that she can't win against him, which pushes her to use her ultimate spell called Sacrificial Charge. Yet despite the magnitude of the attack, Diablo remains unharmed. He cockily tells the Lancer to get on all fours if she wants his forgiveness when he hears Boris shouting something about Celestine being chased down by a Fallen. At that moment, Diablo realizes this was the grand plan after all. Edelgard was just wasting his time while her subordinate weakened the barrier from within Faltra, which would then allow her and the army of Fallen to cause widespread violence. Seeing Edelgard smirk like a little twerp, Diablo decides to use a powerful spell to finish this fight. He tells Shara and the guards of Ulug to take shelter, and with that, he offers the Lancer one last chance to escape. But she confidently states she's here to eliminate humanity and resurrect the Demon Lord. Diablo scoffs and announces he is the true Demon Lord before releasing a spell called White Nova, which unleashes a flood so great they'll need Noah's Ark once again. The attack leaves Edelgard without her plot armor, which surprises Diablo as he was hoping she'd turn into dust like your granny. With no time to waste, he tells Shara he's going to use Return Magic to reach Rem and prays for it to work. Fortunately, his prayers are answered as they arrive straight in front of Gregor. Seeing his friends bloodied and injured, Diablo's face darkens, and he acknowledges Emil's courage and tells him he'll take it from here. Hearing this, the warrior loses consciousness, so Diablo gives Celestine a healing potion and tells her to take care of the injured. Surprised by his will, Celestine asks if he is really going to fight the Fallen for them, but Diablo quickly corrects her by saying he is facing Gregor to teach him a lesson for attacking his base city. Hearing this, Gregor goes on a rant about how he's going to turn him into pig food, but Diablo remains quiet and assesses his opponent, realizing he is a brawler sorcerer according to Cross Reverie, which is a kind of boss that knows both magic and the art of war. When the Fallen tells him that he's going to destroy the barrier, Diablo calmly reveals that Edelgard won't be coming since she ended up looking like Mia Khalifa after her 1 vs 10 session. Gregor refuses to believe that, calling him a liar, and then he unleashes his dark bullets. But this time, Diablo neutralizes the attack and reflects it back on Gregor, who is left shaken by the assault. Meanwhile, Diablo tells him to quit playing around, so the Fallen unleashes something called Dark Press, which Diablo reflects back on him again, which pushes Gregor to beg for mercy. But there won't be any clemency for him as Diablo states he must pay for his crimes. Once the Fallen is sealed inside another dimension thanks to another high-level spell, Diablo receives a hug from Shara while Rem tearfully thanks him for saving her hide. Flustered, Diablo tries to appear like a Chad by telling Rem that he only did it because she belongs to him. To his surprise, Rem happily accepts being owned by him. Shara, feeling left out, also insists that she belongs to him. This causes his brain to go bonkers, and he ends up passing out from all the blood rushing to his pee-pee. 3 days later, a funeral ceremony is held to honor the people who lost their lives in the siege laid by Gregor. But what really surprises Diablo is how the people of Faltra had more motivation to rebuild their city despite facing such a loss. As for him, after losing too much mana, he finds his body heady and mood sulky. When the girls push him to go on a quest with them, he states he wants to become a sleeping beauty and sleep for eternity. So to bribe him, Shara wears a dress that Roman twinks wear, and that works like a charm on him. Before things could get heated, Rem bursts through the door, yelling at Shara for hogging Diablo's Eiffel Tower. As the girls begin to cuddle with him to further their plot, Sylvie appears, informing him that the Lord of the Faltra city was asked by the Elven Kingdom to return Shara. To further make matters worse, they threaten that if Shara isn't returned, they'll wage a war, so their new quest is to make sure there's no war between the Elven Kingdom and Faltra. Upon knowing they only have 10 days to finish this mission, Diablo begins to fret internally since his communication skills are worse than your girlfriend when she's angry. To make him worry further, Sylvie also reveals that Prince Kira, Shara's brother, has put a bounty on her which will attract a lot of scums who are looking to live the rest of their days like Jeff Bezos. Hearing this, Diablo burns with anger as he wonders how can a brother be so evil to do that to his own sister. Now determined to teach Kira a lesson, Diablo announces that he is going to make him regret ever bothering Shara. Surprised by his eagerness, Shara looks at him as Diablo assures her that since she is owned by him, she needs not to worry. When Rem asks what he intends to do, Diablo states that the first step is to gather information so they should see the Lord of Faltra. To show her gratitude, Shara motorboats the crap out of Diablo's face with her mommy milkers. Later on, they all head towards the Lord's residence when Sylvie reveals that he is hailed as the hero of Faltra because 30 years ago, when the Demon Lord was still around, he single-handedly fought and defeated many Falons. Now curious, Diablo asks Sylvie about the Lord's level, but she states that she doesn't know as they never assessed his skills. When he asks if the Lord is easy to talk to, Sylvie hesitantly reveals that he has the reputation of being rigid and warns them all to not forget their manners. Finally arriving at the manor, Sylvie nervously greets Lord Galford, who bluntly addresses Diablo and orders him to quickly resolve the matter with the Elven Kingdom. Sylvie speaks again, asking Galford to provide some information to Diablo. Sighing, Galford states he has already said everything that needed to be said, but Sylvie insists that he at least introduce himself. So, Galford painstakingly reveals he is a lieutenant who has been trusted to look after Faltra. Meanwhile, hearing him talk, Diablo panics as he wonders how he should respond to Galford without compromising his cocky Demon Lord act. So he awkwardly greets Galford, who in return asks if he is really a Demon Lord or just a scam artist. Diablo's instincts kick in, and he asks Galford if he wants to be reduced to ash, which causes his team members to look at him in panic. Ignoring the crudeness, Galford simply points at the map, revealing the location of the elves. He also informs them that they're exceptionally good at ambushing, which is why he wants to avoid this war. Diablo asks why he is specifically deploying him, prompting Galford to state that if he just hands Shara over, then this could all be avoided. Diablo instantly puts down the idea of handing Shara over, which makes Galford ask her why she's giving up the luxury of being a princess. Shara reveals that she doesn't want to be a breeding cow whose only purpose is to pop out royal babies. Galford accepts the answer, but he tells Shara that he can't empathize with her. This bums her out until Diablo tells her that she doesn't need to seek empathy from others because she has the right to pave her own path. Understanding the situation, Galford then reveals that someone from the royal capital is dispatched to help them out. A girl enters the room and introduces herself as Alicia, an Imperial Knight. Upon learning she is an Imperial Knight, Diablo recalls that in Cross Reverie, only powerful people with a noble lineage could become knights. Rem instantly points out that she is surprised to see a woman serving the kingdom, and in response, Alicia tells her that she looks rather troubled. This alerts both Diablo and Rem, who ask her what she means. Alicia just smiles weirdly and claims it was just a guess. She then changes the subject, handing Sylvie a bag of gold and reveals it's from the king, who wants to help build Faltra after what happened. Turning to Shara, Alicia offers her full support in her fight to live independently. Diablo, who had been observing her, concludes that Alicia is an introvert's worst nightmare since she is way too communicative. She then offers her gratitude to Diablo for protecting Faltra and Ulug during the battle with the Falons. But he panics, realizing that if he isn't cautious, then Alicia might see through his Demon Lord's act to scare her off. So he tells her not to talk to him. But to his dismay, Alicia politely agrees, which only makes him feel bad. On the way back, Diablo realizes that he should get a flashy weapon so he can keep up the act while taking care of small enemies. After purchasing a scythe, he announces to his team that he wants to buy some potions. Shara hurries ahead when suddenly the street gets covered by a gas bomb. With their vision compromised, they hear Shara yelling for help. Diablo, quick on his feet, dispels the fog and witnesses Shara being kidnapped by a bunch of bounty hunters. He swiftly attacks them while the rest of the hunters are taken care of by Alicia and Rem. Once he has Shara safely returned to him, they are all greeted by Emil, who assures Diablo and the gang that he'll take care of the kidnappers as a token of gratitude for helping him earlier with Gregor. Once he's off to La La Land with the kidnappers, Diablo tells Shara to stick by his side. Using this moment, Shara asks him if she can hold his hand, making Diablo blush. They share a loving moment until Alicia apologizes for letting the kidnappers take Shara. Diablo, however, assures her that she doesn't need to be so uptight around them, and she thanks him for being so easygoing. Suddenly, her stomach grumbles loudly, making the girls chuckle. Later at the inn, the group is joined by Celestine, who reveals that she may or may not have found a way to remove the slave collars. The girls perk up at the sound of it as Celestine continues on, revealing that a slave caravan arrived yesterday, so the slave masters might be able to aid them. Alicia interjects, asking the gang if they really want to do this right now when they have to take care of the mess created by Shara's brother. When everyone looks at Diablo for answers, he announces they should check out the slave caravan first, as he is sure he can easily resolve the matter with the Elven Kingdom. The next day, they arrive at the slave caravan when Diablo is hit by naughty thoughts of slaves in fatherless clothes. He gulps down, praying his weenie doesn't ruin his tough demon lord act. Stepping inside a tent, they are all greeted by a busty babe who introduces herself as Meteos, the mistress, who sharply notices the slave collars around Rem and Shara's necks. She asks Diablo if he's here to sell the girls, and he instantly shuts that down, which causes Meteos to then notice the magical aura emitting out of him. She further praises Diablo by telling him that anyone who enrages him will never live to see another day. Shara instantly catches on to this and asks Meteos if she can read magic flows. Once she confirms, Shara reveals that she is just like her, which takes Rem by surprise, who asks her why she never said anything about it. Shara, being a dummy, casually states that she never asked, making Rem sigh in annoyance. After that, Meteos is told why they're all here, and she tells the gang that she can try to remove the slave collars, but can't promise them anything. Suddenly, she senses a sinister flow of magic oozing out of Rem and asks her how she got pregnant with a demon. Everyone is shocked to hear that, and Shara instantly accuses Diablo for doing the nasty with Rem. However, he quickly shuts down the accusation by stating that anyone who goons inside Rem should be sent to jail. Moving on, Meteos tells them that since removing and putting slave collars are a trade secret, she can only share it with a few people. Alicia decides to take herself out, and Rem follows, revealing she doesn't feel good. Shara quickly asks if she's okay, but Rem quietly questions her if she knew about the dark magic flow coming out of her. Shara tells her that she could sense it and assumed it was because she is a super strong adventurer. Hearing this, Rem thanks the gods for giving Shara room temperature intelligence. After stepping out with Alicia, Rem is asked by the knight if she's really alright. When she doesn't respond, Alicia shares how she was afraid Meteos was going to read her heart. This surprises Rem, who asks why someone as noble as her would need to fear something like that. Alicia smiles, revealing that the more you try to be righteous, the more impure your thoughts become. Now feeling more relaxed, Rem admits she was scared about her secret getting out. In response, Alicia tells her to close her eyes so she can put a charm on her hand which will protect her secrets. Rem obeys, but the moment Alicia draws the charm on her hand, she senses a demonic seal which terrifies her. However, she remains quiet, not wanting to make Rem more upset. Back inside the tent, Shara asks Meteos why she made her wear such a naughty outfit, and she reveals that it's because Diablo needs to see her magic flow properly to undo the reflective magic that binds her to him. With that, she orders him to start touching Shara. Diablo follows through, making Shara squeal in pleasure. Once he's able to detect the center, he tries hard to follow the thread of magic connected to the collar, but Shara body breaks as she releases unholy waters. That night, Rem inquires why he was unsuccessful, prompting Diablo to reveal that the magic threads are way too complicated for him to understand yet. Sighing, Rem states that she is extremely exhausted and asks Alicia where she plans on sleeping. Suddenly, Diablo starts to imagine himself dirty cuddling all the chicks, which freaks him out since he already gooned to Shara's dolphin noises earlier. Luckily, Alicia assures them that she's not a bum like them and has rented a solo room for herself. Suddenly, they all hear a sound of a flute. Shara becomes terrified as seconds later, they are all greeted by her brother Kira. He asks Shara to come to him, but she remains frozen in her spot while Diablo coldly disses Kira for putting a bounty on his own sister. The prince, however, states that it was just a misunderstanding, which makes Alicia ask him about the war he intends to unleash on humans if Shara doesn't accompany him. Once again, the prince answers politely, revealing that it was all their father's doing since he wishes to see his daughter. Suddenly, Shara yells at Kira to cut the crap as she can see right through him. Kira quickly apologizes to her, stating that he has changed and wants to become a better brother to her. Hearing this, Rem asks him that if he has truly changed, then he should accept Shara's choice of living her life as an adventurer. Kira replies that he would accept her decision, but then asks Diablo if he's capable of allowing Shara to come home with him. Scoffing hard, Diablo claps back, stating that he's not a scum like him, so if Shara wants to go home with him, then she can. pleased by the response. Kira bids them all goodbye for the day, but assures Shara that he'll check up on her tomorrow. When everyone is asleep, Shara remains awake. Bothered by her brother's visit, Rem notices this and decides to talk to her. She asks if she's planning to return home, but Shara quickly states that she doesn't want to and expresses her desire to open a cafe with her friends. Despite feeling happy, Rem quietly tells Shara that she isn't sure about being present in the future to open a cafe with her as she's dealing with a problem of her own. To cheer her up, Shara throws her on the bed and plays with her tail while elsewhere. Kira plays his flute, his face twisting in sick delight as he claims he's going to make babies with Shara by tomorrow. In the past, when he looked like the ugly protagonist of animes you'd watch on Incognito, Diablo was desperate to make friends, but nobody really wanted him around. Now in the present, when he opens his eyes, he is greeted by two baddies cuddling him. Later that morning, Rem reveals she is going to head down to the Adventurers Guild to update Sully about what happened with Kira, while Alicia, accompanying her, says she's going to report to Lord Galford. Hearing this, Shara cheerfully tells them to be careful, but the girls remind her that she's the one who needs to be careful since Kira would be coming later too. Hear her answer. Diablo quickly assures them that he won't hand over Shara, which fills her with optimism, so she announces that once her brother comes, she is going to refuse him. After Rem and Alicia leave to finish their tasks, Diablo tells Shara they should not slack, so they will be recreating the potions from his world. Excited by this, Shara eagerly asks Diablo if she can watch, which only makes him more nervous as a former loser. To make matters worse, he catches Shara's balloons peeking out of her top, making him realize that instead of potion, he wants lotion to bust a fat one out.
Nice.
Suddenly, Shara starts cheering for him, pointing at the complete vial of potion in his hand. It then clicks to Diablo that if he focuses his attention on her senpai snacks, then he can get anything done without losing motivation. And just like that, he manages to finish these more vials of potions, impressing Shara in the process. Seeing her delightful, Diablo starts to smile at himself, which doesn't go unnoticed by Shara, who compliments him. This prompts him to realize that it's the first time he ever smiled ever since he got here. Filled with hope, Diablo lets himself dream that perhaps one day he will be able to talk to people normally without using the facade of the Demon Lord. He then quietly tells Shara that he wishes they can have peaceful moments like this forever. Just when she is about to answer, the faint sound of flute fills the room. Shara's eyes change color and she suddenly heads towards the door, telling Diablo that she is going back to Greenwood, her home. Flabbergasted, he asks what happened for her to change her mind, and she tells him that as a royal princess, she must fulfill her duties. With that said, she joins her brother, who reminds Diablo that he promised to respect Shara's wishes. Once they leave, Rem and Alicia return, asking Diablo what he's doing outside. Quietly, he reveals that Shara left for Greenwood, surprising Rem, who asks him what he is going to do next. Without facing her, he replies he's going to bed rot all day. Yet no matter how hard he tries, his head is filled with thoughts of Shara as he considers the possibility of her lying to him. Later that evening, Rem comes to check up on him and asks him how long he plans on being holed up in his room. When she doesn't get a response back, she reminds him that Shara has the brain of an ant. That's why she isn't smart enough to pull off an act. That's why she can't imagine Shara betraying their trust like this. For a moment, Diablo wonders if Kira's flute had something to do with Shara's sudden decision to return home, but since he never came across an item like this in the game, he goes back to thinking that he was fooled into believing he had any friends. While he is completely self-absorbed, Rem announces she is going to get Shara back. In response, Diablo shouts at her, asking why she is putting herself on the line for someone who abandoned them. Rem confidently asserts that it's because Shara is her friend, which pushes him to recall all those moments where the stupid elf would worry about him, telling him to be careful. After remembering her smiling face, Diablo tells Rem that since she summoned him, does she want the power of the great demon lord to get back her friend? And Rem excitedly says yes, causing Diablo to get ready for some badassery. On the way out, they are greeted by Alicia, who insists on going with them since she can't accept Shara's decision. Diablo points out that in doing so, she will be compromising her duties as an Imperial Knight, but Alicia doesn't care as she admits that she simply can't leave Rem alone in her fight. Meanwhile, in some elven camp, Shara is tied up while Prince Kira plays his flute and discloses to her that thanks to the instrument, he can override her however he likes. Using the flute again, Kira compels Shara to tell him if she served Diablo with her body, but when she claims that he only ever ordered her to shake hands with Rem, Kira begins to wonder whether Diablo can't get it up. Shrugging away these thoughts, he then dispatches a fabric-eating slime to burn Shara's clothes. While she cries and tells Kira that she hates him, he taunts her, further saying he doesn't care because he's only interested in breeding her. Just when all hope seems lost, Diablo and the gang arrive. Seeing Shira in distress, Diablo apologizes to her for being late while the girls tell Kira that in his next life, he's going to be an abnormal titan. Enraged by the intrusion, Kira reminds them that his whole army is waiting outside. Diablo urges him to look outside, and when he does, he finds his entire army wiped out. Furious and annoyed, Kira threatens them with war, but Diablo doesn't care. Instead, he turns towards Shara, asking her what she wants. Before she could answer, Kira uses overrights to make her say that she wants to go to Greenwood. In response, Diablo uses the enslavement collar and propels her to reveal the truth. Tears begin to pour out of her eyes as Shara expresses that she just wants to be free and travel with her friends. Hearing this, Kira loses his mind and calls upon the trump card of Elven Nation, a Hydra. Kira cackles with sick delight, hoping the Hydra would do his bidding of eliminating Diablo. Shara, who is now terrified, pleads with him to run while he can because the Hydra has been the Elves' guardian deity for centuries, and no one has been able to defeat it. Yet despite the warnings, Diablo tingles with excitement as he tells his friends to step back and let Daddy take care of it. Once the girls take shelter in the trees, Kira urges the summon to rain hell on Diablo, but in response, the Hydra warns him to not boss him around. Seeing this, Diablo taunts him for not having a complete command over his own summon, but from within. He worries since he never came across the Hydra or the flute when he was playing Cross Reverie. Without further delays, he sends an attack of boulders toward the Hydra and manages to cut one of the heads. Just when he thinks it's going to be easy, the Hydra regenerates the head, leaving Diablo in a pickle. Kira cheers on, while Diablo analyzes the Hydra, realizing that he has many skills which are unlike for a summon. Shara, who had been watching him fight from the sidelines, offers him advice. If he manages to locate the core of the Hydra, then he might have a shot at winning this fight. Kira scoffs, wondering how his idiot sister knows this, but then confidently tells Diablo that it's no use because the core moves around the Hydra's body, and he'll never be able to destroy it. However, Diablo now feels certain that he can win this, so he slides beneath the Hydra and uses a powerful electric spell that destroys the core and the Hydra. With his trump card gone, Kira pees his pants and asks him just who he is. Diablo announces he is Diablo, the demon lord from another world, but Kira refuses to believe that and calls him a schizo off his medicine, which ticks off Diablo, who raises his staff to execute Kira once and for all. But before he can do that, Celsior rushes to shield his prince while Shara urges him to reconsider. Confused, Diablo asks her if she is still under her brother's spell, but Shara assures him that she's not, and even though she hates Kira, he is still blood, being an ungrateful prick. Kira scoffs at the kindness shown to him and heads inside the wood when suddenly he is beheaded by an unseen force. Shara's eyes widen in horror as Galford and his army reveal themselves. Celsior tries to attack him, but due to Galford's immense strength, he never manages to get close to him. Meanwhile, Diablo angrily asks the Lord what he is cooking. Galford casually reveals Kira had it coming the moment he sent his troops in another nation. With that, he commands his soldiers to exterminate any elves found in the woods, and then sends an order to capture Shara. Diablo then realizes that this was Galford's plan all along. He wanted him to fight the elves so he'd have a justification to seize Greenwood. But the Lord doesn't react to his words. Instead, he tells Diablo that if he's going to be a hurdle, then he's going to be eliminated as well. Without further warnings, he puts him in a cage designed to capture large monsters. Diablo is shocked, realizing the spell is unknown to him, while Galford claims that he won't be getting out anytime soon. Alicia finally confronts Galford, asking why he is taking such rash actions, but he calmly responds back, stating he is doing what's good for Faltra and its people. He then questions her if a measly knight like her would question his military judgment. In response, Alicia raises her sword when Galford asks her how she is going to stop him without a blade. Seconds later, her blade falls off, leaving everyone including Diablo stunned, who now realizes that Galford is a beast who is not only talented in magic, but is probably faster than Minato. Alicia falls down to her knees in terror while Galford challenges her to rat him out to the king. In the meantime, Diablo realizes the urgency of the matter and tries to sense the magic flow of the cage. Slowly and steadily, Diablo makes an attempt to reach the center of the magic flow, while Galford orders his guards to move forward. Suddenly, the barrier snaps open, leaving Galford shocked. He commends Diablo and then tells his soldiers to stand back. Raising his sword, the Lord reveals that once he is done cutting him in pieces, he'll sell everyone the story that he was a scam artist who was planning to invade their beloved city. Instead of using words, Diablo fires a magic spell, but Galford easily deflects the attack while his sword flashes with ruthless speed. Feeling rather cocky, the Lord taunts Diablo for being slow and meek when suddenly he steps on a magical landmine and receives a wound. Diablo smirks, revealing that he had placed multiple landmines the moment they started clashing. As someone who values a good fight, Galford reveals that in 30 years, he is the first one to injure him. After praising him, he uses lightning steps to get closer to Diablo, who uses a spell which puts Galford in a prison made of ice. Thinking this is his victory, Diablo lets his guard down when suddenly Galford breaks through the ice and comes close to cutting his throat. Acting fast, he unleashes lightning bullets, sending Galford flying in the distance. At that moment, Diablo realizes that the Lord of Faltra is on level 120 and declares him the strongest opponent he has faced ever since his arrival. Despite being gravely injured, Galford tries to stand back up, shocking Diablo, who reaches the conclusion that he doesn't want this old boomer as his enemy, so he tries to intimidate by telling Galford he lost interest in fighting him. But the old man shocks him by saying that he'll just tell the king he is a threat to their country. Luckily, Alicia steps forward and tells Galfer he won't be doing anything like that because she's reporting to the king about his reckless actions that cause chaos in Faltra. In the end, Galford accepts defeat and tells his troops to return to their postings. Meanwhile, Rem asks Diablo for some healing potions and tends to the injured elves. While she's away, he checks up on Shara, who acknowledges that her brother had to be put down but still allows herself to cry over his death. In the coming days, Alicia heads to the royal capital to report everything that happened to the king, while Selzier takes matters into his own hands to prevent a war from happening between the elves and the humans. As for Diablo, he spends his time in bed, recovering from the fight. He acknowledges that he is penniless but expresses that as a former shut-in, he doesn't have the will to go out in the world just yet. Suddenly, he is visited by Sylvie, who arrives with a bottle of wine that has the ability to recover mana. However, after just one glass, he gets tipsy and jumps on Sylvie, thinking she is a body pillow. Meanwhile, at the royal castle, a maid tells Alicia not to overwork herself. She assures the polite worker that she is fine, and it's her duty to devote herself to the people when a man by the name of Sadler arrives, scaring away the maid. Alicia, however, extends her greetings, asking him about his recent mission in the southern village. Sadler smiles, revealing how every single person in the village found salvation. With a fake smile plastered on her own face, Alicia asks him if he hates mankind. But he reveals that it's his love that motivates him to exterminate those who worship the Demon Lord. Realizing this guy is a total nut job, Alicia tries to leave when Sadler reveals he is going to be heading to Faltra as well, which prompts her to stop. The man continues, disclosing that the High Priestess Wasilia had an omen about the Demon Lord's revival in Faltra. Therefore, as a paladin, he is going to be investigating the city. Meanwhile, Rem teaches Shara to summon a turkey shot. Once the elf is successful, Rem reveals that while the summon is not strong, she has a special ability of Synchro Sight, which allows the summoner to see everything seen by the bird. However, Rem warns her that using summons takes a lot of mana, so the summoner cannot use them for long. When she asks Shara if she wants to form a pact with the turkey shot, she eagerly accepts and takes out a stone. Seeing this, Diablo gets curious and inquires about it, prompting Rem to reveal that it's a magic stone required to forge a pact during the enslavement ritual. She then gives one to him, which he views with great interest since it wasn't there in the world of Cross Reverie. After Shara is done forging a pact with the chonky bird, Diablo puts it to the test by throwing a coin in the deep forest. He then asks Shara to use the turkey shot to locate it. Obeying at once, she puts the bird to work and is in absolute awe when it takes flight. Seconds later, Shara excitedly reveals she can see the coin, so Diablo tells her to shoot an arrow in its direction. When she hits the mark, he reveals she can use the turkey shot to strike the enemies that she can't see herself. Ren is amazed by that, revealing that her tiny head could never have put the bird to use this way. Suddenly, Shara starts sniffing around and accuses Rem of smelling like hot dog water. While she is embarrassed, Shara announces they should all go swimming. After arriving at a lake, the girls start stripping, causing Diablo to freak out. He tells them that he's not getting in the water with them and turns away,
Come on, man.
leaving the girls to clean up. However, hearing them play together, his mind starts to do backflips with naughty thoughts. Suddenly, Shara cries for help, prompting Diablo to look, and he finds Edelgard holding on to Rem, revealing that someone told her she possesses the soul of the Demon Lord within her. Startled by the information, Shara asks Rem what Edelgard is talking about, but she remains quiet. They all sit together later where Rem discloses the full truth to her. After hearing her out, Shara embraces Rem and tells her that while she is weak and useless, she still wants to help her out. Rem thanks Shara, and once they are done getting all sappy, she tells Edelgard that she always thought she'd be murdered if a fallen found out she has the soul of the Demon Lord. To her surprise, Edelgard reveals that she can revive the Demon Lord within her without putting her life on the line, and then she'll be hailed as the mother of the Demon Lord. However, when she notices the look of disapproval on Diablo's face, she tells him that instead of performing the ritual herself, she can teach them how to do it. Diablo considers her offer, knowing that Rem's ultimate goal is to revive the Demon Lord and settle business once and for all. So he tells Edelgard to teach him the ritual so he can resurrect the Demon Lord and take him down. Not liking his overconfidence, Edelgard raises her sword and Diablo matches her energy by putting his staff on her neck. Pouting, she tells him to be there at Starfall Tower 3 days from today, as that will be the place where they'll conduct the ritual. Later at the pub, the gang is greeted by Alicia, who tells them to come with her. They quickly follow, asking her why she looks so stern. Alicia then reveals that a paladin by the name of Sadler is in Faltra, who can cause them harm if he believes they are Demon Lord worshippers. Hearing this, Diablo worries since he never fought paladins in the game, so he is completely unaware of their stats. Unfortunately for them, they run straight into Sadler and his Gunner squad. Upon seeing him, Sadler asks for an introduction, causing Diablo to worry. He decides on not provoking the paladin, but his stupidity acts first, and he proudly states that he is a demon lord from another world. Sadler bursts into laughter, stating that he knew Faltra housed many weirdos, but a scam artist is a new one for him. thinking everyone is safe. Alicia smiles, stating that Diablo does love to joke, when suddenly Sadler darkly tells her that it's beneath her to mingle with people who call themselves demon lords. When Rem tries to intervene, the paladin calls her a slave, which only infuriates her further. All of a sudden, her neck starts to hurt while Sadler claims she is being punished by God. However, Diablo senses the magic spell and calls him out for being a poser. Feeling insulted, Sadler fires a spell at him, but Diablo uses reflective magic and puts the paladin in a cement block. Once his followers carry him away, Alicia asks Diablo if it was wise to let Sadler go. He answers by saying it's below him to take on small fries like Sadler, which Alicia reluctantly accepts. 3 days later, Rem prepares for her biggest test and tells Shara and Diablo that she wants to share her secret with Alicia. Diablo tells her it's not smart, but she insists, stating Alicia is her friend now. So he steps back and watches Rem confess to Alicia, who hugs her. However, instead of being moved by this, Diablo gets an uneasy feeling in his chest, but he decides to ignore it, thinking it's because he isn't used to having friends. That night, the gang arrives at the Starfell Tower and Diablo is instantly hit by nostalgia, since it's the place where he was summoned. He then introduces Alicia to Edelgard, revealing she is their newest member, but when the Fallen remains quiet, Diablo notes that it's weird for her to not have any opposition. Instead, Edelgard tells Rem that she must pour her strong magic power into the Demon Lord's soul to bring him to life. In response, Rem turns to Diablo, telling him that she can't trust Edelgard. He asks her if she wants to call the whole operation off, but Rem insists that she wants to defeat Krebskulm and asks Diablo to help her out. He assures her that he is going to do everything in his power to fulfill the promise he made to her. Without further ado, Edelgard guides Diablo to place his hand on Rem's tummy, who states that she never thought there would come a day when she'd make her dream happen. Without more yapping, Diablo pours his energy into her core and senses Krebskulm's power. In the meantime, Rem makes happy dolphin noises while she feels Diablo's hot power pour inside her. After taking a break, he asks how close he is to getting Krebskulm out, when Edelgard reveals that he is not even close and should go deeper inside Rem. Diablo asks her how he should do that, prompting Edelgard to reveal that he must make a hole inside her and pour his power from there. Shara yells at her to not be a moron because her plan can easily put Rem to an early grave, so Edelgard casually points at the forbidden entrance between her legs and urges Diablo to use that, shocking everyone. While he tweaks out like a loser virgin, Rem eagerly but shyly tells Diablo that he has her permission, so without looking at the ultimate plot hole, Diablo inserts his fingers and resurrects the demon lord Krebskulm. As the deity cackles darkly, Diablo tries to check up on Rem, who urges him to win against her biggest enemy. Once the cloud of smoke dies down, Diablo is shocked to see the fearsome demon lord being a girl who is eligible to get Happy Meals. To show everyone that she is a powerful almighty demon lord, Krebskulm calls upon a large supply of magic, claiming to eliminate everyone. But suddenly, her magic disappears as she tries hard to think what she was going to do. Shocked, Diablo wonders if she forgot how to fight. Suddenly, Alicia steps forward, reminding Krebskulm that she is supposed to finish the human race. Confused, she asks why when Rem urges her that she doesn't have to eliminate anyone. Alicia weirdly starts to tweak out, asking Edelgard to do something, who reveals that she is just here to do whatever Krebskulm asks her to do. Soon, Krebskulm announces she won't exterminate the human race after all, and asks if they have anything for her to snack on. Shara hands her some biscuits, which she devours like a pig, and claims that her new mission is to eat every single biscuit ever produced. Realizing there isn't going to be any fighting, they all head home when suddenly a being called Ulrich arrives and tells Krebskulm that he served the previous demon lord. He then states that in order to celebrate her birth, they should just yeet all the mortals, when Krebskulm instantly tells the chopped Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean that she can't murder humans because she needs to keep them alive for biscuits. Confused, Ulrich reaches the conclusion that Krebskulm needs to die so they can have the right demon lord who hates mortals. But when he swings his weapon, Edelgard stops him, stating that they need to obey the will of the demon lord. Ulrich simply throws Edelgard away, which prompts Diablo to step in. As the two fight, Ulrich realizes Diablo is way too strong and flies away. They all arrive at the inn, where Rem and Alicia decide to share a room, leaving Shara and Krebskulm under Diablo's care. To reward him for his hard efforts, Shara decides to make him stiff instead. Krebskulm curiously follows Shara, which leads to them all reaching the finishing line together. Meanwhile, in another room, Alicia recalls her parents pushing her to be racist towards demi-humans. At the royal court, things aren't different for her, as they all urge her to discard empathy for any other being other than humans. Recalling this, Alicia says to herself that she needs the demon lord to fulfill her duty and rid the world of humanity. Meanwhile, in some old church, Sadler plans to take revenge on Diablo and the demi-humans for insulting him. The next day, Shara teaches the demon lord a nursery rhyme, which makes Diablo wonder if Shara is going to turn a powerful deity like Krebskulm into a Kokomlan-loving idiot. When she asks Rem to join them, she nervously starts singing too while Alicia looks at them like your crush looks at you. Arriving at an inn, Krebscombe hogs all the biscuits while Diablo sits with Celestine at another table so he doesn't have to babysit Krebscombe and Shara. Celestine finally speaks up, expressing that she never thought they'll have a demon lord who loves biscuits, so for now all they can do is wait and see how Krebscombe reacts in the future. She also praises Rem for being strong, who humbly thanks her for protecting her all those years. Later, Shara shares with Diablo that she is happy Celestine didn't lock Krebscombe away. He thoughtfully replies back, stating that since Celestine can never leave Faltra because of the barrier, she would never willingly take away another creature's freedom. Shara turns back to share Diablo's wisdom with Rem when they find her missing along with Krebscombe and Alicia. Elsewhere, the Imperial Knight leads Krebscombe and Rem to a dark alleyway when Rem asks why they separated from Diablo and Shara. A weird look takes over Alicia's face as she says she'll bring Shara soon since she isn't sure what will serve as the key. In the meantime, Diablo and Shara check back in the inn, but when they don't find them there, he tells Shara to wait in the room while he searches the block. On the streets, Diablo gets a weird sensation in his chest, like something is about to happen. Back at the alleyway, Alicia asks Krebscombe why she is missing her memories, but instead of letting her answer, Alicia tells Rem that a fallen priest told her that it takes more than just magic power to resurrect the demon lord. Now startled, Rem asks Alicia if she wants to eliminate the entire mortal race, and when she confirms, Rem asks what has happened to her. Alicia replies that she has not changed. The only difference is that now she doesn't need to pretend they are all best friends forever. Confused why she has gone biscuits, Krebscombe asks Alicia if she wants her to burn her. In response, Alicia does a perfect Yuno Gasai pose and says it will be an honor to be the first one to be burned by her, since the goal is to set the world to zero. At that moment, Alicia reveals that she was the one who gave the Simp Guard a dagger laced with Grigor's spirit so she could resurrect the demon lord quickly. Suddenly, Sadler and his goons arrive, thanking Alicia for helping him catch the Devil Lord worshippers. Shocked, Ren tries to tell the paladin that it's Alicia who is the heretic here, but cunning as ever, Alicia puts on an act and tells Sadler her investigation revealed Rem and her gang to be devil worshippers. Cornered and alone, Ren tries to put up a fight but fails as Sadler takes her under custody. In the meantime, Diablo searches high and low for Rem and Krebscombe, wondering if the nagging feeling he had about Alicia was right after all. Somewhere else, Rem opens her eyes and sees Krebscombe hovering over her with a concerned look. She tells Rem how Alicia told her that her life was hard because of her existence. When Rem stays quiet, Krebscombe praises her for the loyalty, but Rem admits that she always hated her since her existence made her live in isolation and fear. Understanding her pain, Krebscombe agrees that she made her life a nightmare. However, Rem tells Krebscombe that she empathizes with her since she also spent her life locked within her. That's why she can't bring herself to hate her. Suddenly, Sadler drags Rem in a torture chamber which terrifies her. She tries to tell Sadler that she isn't a demon lord worshipper, but he refuses to listen, making Rem realize that he is simply a rotten man. She then asks Alicia why she would betray them like this, but the wicked woman urges her to scream for help, hoping it would break Krebscombe's innocence. After tirelessly searching for them, Diablo tries to seek help from everyone but fails to speak out the words. Luckily, a boy rushes in, revealing that a paladin was seen carrying a catgirl into a torture chamber. Diablo thanks him and rushes out to rescue his free-use catgirl. Somewhere else, Galfred and his soldiers are taken aback upon seeing Edelgard leading an army of fallen. Concerned about the fate of Faltra, Celestine pours all her energy into securing the barrier, while Sadler prepares to cut Rem's ears. Krebscombe, seeing this, asks Rem to let her use her powers to save her, but she makes her promise not to give in to hatred. Suddenly, Sadler decides to swing his sword at Krebscombe instead, but Rem shields her with her body, dying in the process. Seeing this, Krebscombe goes berserk with hatred and transforms into a menacing beast. Sadler tries to fight her but loses his life and heartbeat. Elsewhere, Diablo is greeted by Shara, who explains that she used Turkey Shot to find Rem and saw that she was gravely wounded. Realizing the urgency, he hands her vials of healing potions and orders her to rescue Rem while he takes on Krebscombe. Outside of Faltra, Edelgard cheers upon seeing Krebscombe finally taking her role as the Demon Lord when she and Ulrix are greeted by Alicia. Ulrix enters attack mode until Edelgard reveals that it was Alicia who awakened the Demon Lord. Meanwhile, Sylvie approaches Galfred, who tells her to pack up and leave since she isn't equipped to handle an army of fallen. However, she asks him to have faith in her and the Adventurers Guild, revealing that Diablo is headed towards the battlefield, so until then, he should sit tight. In the meantime, Diablo faces Krebscombe and tries to bring her to her senses, but instead, she charges at him with murderous intentions. Observing her moves, he realizes that the Krebscombe they had known is long gone. In the meantime, Shara feeds Rem multiple healing potions. Luckily, Rem, having 9 lives, comes back to tell Shara that Alicia was an evil rat that caused all this chaos, as she wanted to resurrect the Demon Lord from the start. Gazing on the empty vials, Rem inquires about them, and Shara reveals that they are healing potions crafted by Diablo. Rem senses that Diablo must have given her all the healing potions and worries for his safety. Back at the battlefield, Diablo tries to maneuver Krebscome's attack, realizing that if he weren't level 150, he would be dead meat by now. Luckily, he receives help from Emil, who assures him that he took Rem and Shara to safety. Feeling relieved now, Diablo decides to use his ultimate magic spell, Apocalypse Abyss, but even that isn't enough to make Krebscome stop her bloodshed. Suddenly, Shara arrives carrying an injured Rem. Together, they address Krebscome, begging her to come back to them. Rem also bribes her by saying that if she returns to her old self, then she would give her multiple Scooby snacks. This does the trick as Krebscome transforms back to the loli everyone loved. She then begs Rem for forgiveness since she gave in to her hatred and caused unnecessary chaos. However, Rem assures her that she is just happy to have her back. Elsewhere, Ulrich thunders upon Edelgard, calling her a failure for aligning herself with Alicia. Knowing things are about to go south, Edelgard signals Alicia to run to safety. The next day, Sylvia learns that Krebscome is the Demon Lord and tells Diablo that she can't let someone like her run freely in Faltra. And since Diablo knows she is right, he asks Krebscome what she wishes to do, so the tiny Demon Lord reveals that she only wishes to live with Rem, Shara, and eat dog biscuits all her life. After getting the clarity he needed, Diablo flashes the magic stone Rem gave him earlier and announces that he can perform an enslavement ritual on Krebscome, which will bind her to him. This way, Krebscome wouldn't be a threat to humanity. Krebscome agrees, and once the enslavement ritual is completed, they all head back to the inn to get a much-needed rest when suddenly trouble presents itself in Alicia's face. Holding a knife at Shara's throat, Alicia tells Krebscome to follow her. With no other option, they agree and find an injured Edelgard. Alicia reveals that when their plan to resurrect the Demon Lord failed, the Fallen turned on Edelgard and punished her. Despite hearing her sob story, Krebscome asks Alicia why she should help someone who made a mess out of Rem. That's when Diablo intervenes, urging Krebscome to help Edelgard, prompting her to obey. Once she is all healed, Edelgard thanks Krebscome and asks why she is chilling with the mortals again. Krebscome reveals that these people risked their lives to rescue her, so now she wants to live with them and eat plenty of biscuits. Seeing Edelgard safe and sound, Alicia drops the knife and tells them to finish her off. Rem, however, asks her what made her so crazy, so Alicia begins to reveal that she was exposed to humanity's dark side, which filled her with extreme hatred for mankind. In Alicia, Diablo sees himself, recalling all those moments when he was stranded by others for simply having a bad haircut. So when Alicia tries to end her life subscription, Diablo stops her, which makes her wonder why someone would save her after everything she did. He yells at her, stating that she can't take the easy way out and must make up to Rem for the pain she caused. Understanding Diablo, Alicia promises to repent when suddenly his body gives out due to all the fighting he did. Seeing this, the girls quickly remove their clothes, including Alicia, so they can take care of Diablo, who ends up fainting with happiness, knowing he can now make more babies than Genghis Khan ever could in his lifetime. Are you also a loser like Diablo? If yes, comment sauce, and if you like this recap, then watch this video here.